Welcome on back to the first episode of the Goonery in 2023. A lot to talk about. Hopefully, this next year is a lot better for our sports teams than this past year has been. We are fresh off a 41-10 loss against the Detroit Lions for the Chicago Bears. It looked like absolute dog shit. There's no other way to put it. After scoring on their first offensive drive, put up 3 points the rest of the game, and we're heading into the final week of the regular season, where the Detroit Lions and Green Bay Packers have been flexed to Sunday Night Football, potentially pending other tiebreakers. The winner of that game makes the playoffs. If you would have told anyone on this show a month ago that that was even remotely possible, we would have both laughed in your face.
I think it's my personal hell to know that either one of those teams are going to make the playoffs. And it's not like if, let's say, either one makes the playoffs, whether it be Green Bay or Detroit, they both could be a tough out. It's not going to be one of those things where, like, all right, you're going to get into the playoffs, but they're going to get smacked by whoever they go against first. So that's one thing. I learned something on Sunday that I had to really, temper my expectations a very great deal, because I want Bears fans to know something, and it's going to be a very, very harsh reality. I had to snap myself out of it too. But having the most money in the NFL is not going to get this team from worst to first. There are a lot of holes on this football team to where you are genuinely concerned if every hole can be filled. And keep this in mind, there is no second pick. The only best case scenario for the Bears is that they get the number one pick and trade out of that spot. That's the only thing that can help. And by the way, that will help matters that Nathan Peterman will be starting. Thank the Lord. Yep. He will be starting this Sunday against Minnesota. And Houston will be playing the Colts, which the Colts are god-awful. So if you tell me that the number one pick is within reach, it's very much in reach, and that's a very great thing.
Yeah, and we knew they weren't going to be good this year. We've said that all year. We did not think that they were going to be a good team. Do we think they would be this bad? Absolutely not. Absolutely not did I ever think that heading into the final week of the season, the Bears be in the running for the number one pick. Not even just the running. I guarantee if you look at betting odds across anywhere right now, if you're able to find it, who ends up with the first overall pick, I bet the Bears are the favorite. Yeah. The fact that they are starting Nathan Peterman, and I love that the Bears have come out. I'm not doubting that Fields' hip is banged up, or he's just banged up from just getting – he was the most sacked quarterback in a single season in Bears franchise history. We thought – what was that? Was that 2013 with Cutler when he broke the record?
I thought it was 2010 with Mike Martz.
You're right. You're correct. It was a Mike Martz offense. You're correct. But the fact that that record was broken with how special Fields is with his legs just goes to show you just how bad they actually are. And I'm not ruling out the fact that, all right, hypothetically, we kind of mentioned this on the show before. Bears lose this week. I mean, if Nathan Peterman is able to pull off a win this week, I mean, that he will never start another NFL game again, because this is the only situation where he is ever stepping foot on a football field is when a team needs to lose. Yeah. And I really don't think Jeff Saturday is going to lead his team to a win. And you never know. There might be some home cooking from Lovey. You never know. You never know. But there is a strong likelihood that the Bears trade this first overall pick, that if they get it, to the Indianapolis Colts. And we had talked about this before. You would get their first round pick. You would probably get, honestly, probably 2 first round picks, potentially someone like DeForest Buckner, who the Bears have the ability to take on that contract. And then you're going to get some mid-round selections as well.
Yeah.
It's wild, man. And I still think, regardless, if they end up with the first or the second overall pick, they're going to be able to get a haul, and they would be foolish to not get a haul, to not trade back. And I do like to think Ryan Poles is a smart man. Am I happy with how his first season has gone as a general manager? No, but he inherited a pile of shit, and it's the first year of a full-blown rebuild. You can't expect anything, but you still don't love what he's done at this point. It's go time for him now. These next few weeks are going to tell us a lot, because There's also the rumors kind of swirling around. I'm sure you saw them that it's probably people reading too much into the quote. Ryan Poles saying something along the lines of like, we obviously know that Justin is a game changer, but that next step we need to see him take is he needs to develop as a passer. Okay, but like, I don't want to sound like a homer, but he can't be a passer with who he's been throwing to these last few weeks. And yes, 75 yards as a starting quarterback in the NFL, it is unacceptable. I mean, objectively, that is horrendous when you lose by 31 points and you have to be throwing the football. But they're not drafting a quarterback. And anyone who says they are is full of themselves.
I just very concerned of where like the smear campaign of Justin Fields even came from in the first place. And it's as a matter of fact, I do. There are people that are so obsessed with the Mahomes and the Burrows and the Allens that if you can't throw like those guys, then you don't have a spot in this league. Everybody's looking for that next guy. And truthfully, I'm going to go on a limb and say that those guys are anomalies.
Yep.
As crazy as this sounds, because it seems like the more and more we get into the future of the quarterback, these guys are looking better and better and better. Trevor Lawrence is the perfect example. But the difference between Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields is that Trevor Lawrence was put in a perfect position to succeed. He has a quarterback. He has a coach that has worked very well with quarterbacks, and they splurged on receivers for him. And with Justin Fields, you trade for Chase Claypool. He's gotten up to a bad start. Is it fully his fault? Not really. But when it's outside of him, Moody's hurt. St. Brown has been unavailable. N'Keal Harry has a bad back. Byron Pringle has been ineffective. How are you supposed to improve as a passer when, let's be honest, you are the person, whether it would be your fault or not, with the finances that the Bears had going into this season, whether it's your fault or not, you cannot expect someone to take that next level with throwing to those guys. It's not possible. And then let's forget the receiver part of it. Your offensive line is horrible. Justin has had in his mind the entire season that I'm going to need to will this team to be in some games, not win because they're not good enough to win, but for a guy that has done as much as he has with the horrible offensive line that he's been put behind, getting battered and bruised the entire season, but we're going to sit here and blame the quarterback and blame his psyche for being messed up and wonder why he can't succeed as a quarterback because he doesn't have guys to get open, and he has less than 5 seconds to get off a damn throw. Come on. If you watch the tape, you would know. But I would bet my entire I would bet the entire amount of money that I would make this year that you cannot tell me that people watched Bear games this year. They saw the highlights of him running. They saw how he was electrifying. Did they do it mostly with the throws? Not really. But you know what? Those are the ones that you miss because most of the time they get blown out. So you're going to miss it. But people don't watch the games. And it shows. It shows they don't watch.
Does. And I mean, just people getting just riding Fields to no end. It's obnoxious. And there was a call. I sent you the tweet earlier that a caller on Chicago sports radio, it was probably Bill from Bridgeport calling in and saying, we need to try Fields out in the slot next year and draft Anthony Richardson to play quarterback. What are you talking about? I mean, it's just like Fields not only is light years ahead of Anthony Richardson as a quarterback. I mean, and light years is being polite. I don't understand it because you see the flashes, but then have the flashes been less common the last few weeks? Yes, absolutely. End of the day, he's a game changer. He's a game breaker, and he's a matchup nightmare. He's 6'3", 240 pounds, and runs a 4.5. Yeah. What other quarterback in the NFL is doing that?
It's just crazy to me how we are. Remember, people my age or older than me lived through Michael Vick. They said he was the most electrifying player in football. Why? Because when he came into the league, he was in that polish of a passer. When he came out of jail, he looked like an actual passer. But when he was with the Falcons, he can't miss TV. Why? Because of his legs. Because I need somebody to tell me what has changed in that regard. Is because we see more pure passes? Are we seeing better passes? We've been split with Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. Is that the reason? Somebody has to tell me a reason why that there is a difference of what you're watching. The guy is moving the freaking ball. Isn't that the name of the game? Like, I'm sorry. You sitting your fat ass on the couch telling somebody how to move the football is the reason why your fat ass is on the couch watching it, not coaching it. I'm not even playing it. So the thing that bothers me is the whole running back shit. I know people got a kick out of Cole Kmet pitching a ball to him. He's like, oh my God, he's such a natural taking a pitch and running it for a first down. He's such a natural. But that's what makes him special. He can do that, but he can also throw the football too. But you know what? I would like to thank all those people for telling me that you do not watch games. You watch highlights. Highlights don't tell the story, bro, unless you got all 22 or something like that. If your conclusion is still that he can't throw the ball, I can't help you, and nor will I.
And you kind of alluded to it as well. I am just so thankful that the Bears are not an AFC team, because it would be a million times worse in the media if he was constantly being compared to the quarterbacks in the AFC, whether it's Allen, Mahomes, Burrow. I mean, the list goes on and on. Herbert. The AFC is light years ahead of the NFC.
Oh, it's not even close.
I mean, it is unbelievable, the quarterback talent that they have in that conference from top to bottom. I mean, all right, not top to bottom, but you get what I'm
I got you.
What I'm getting at there. Because Trevor Lawrence really, I might be called crazy for this. I've never thought he was like terrible. I thought he was played okay considering his circumstances last year, beginning of this year, a little bit slow, but it was a new offensive system. And I mean, he was getting ridden like a goddamn horse at the start of the year, and it's quieted down, but it makes me feel better that Justin Fields is playing in the NFC, where it's, I mean,
not a direct comparison.
No, it's not. I mean, yes, the NFC has some great quarterbacks, whether it's Jalen Hurts, Dak, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, call me crazy, Kirk Cousins, if he's playing at noon and if he's playing the first game on Sunday. It's just going to be very interesting to see how the quarterback situation shakes up, though, because you're going to see someone like a Derek Carr potentially come into the NFC next year, or potentially into the NFC next year, and he'll instantly be a top 5, 6 quarterback in the conference.
Around there.
And you could, I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo is not going to be on the 49ers next year. It's going to be interesting to see where he ends up.
Yep.
And hell, Brock Purdy is looking like he is on his way from Mr. Irrelevant to the Super Bowl with this 49ers team.
I'll tell you this much. I warn everybody of any team that wants to trade for Brock Purdy. I'm going to tell you something.
Buyer beware.
Buyer beware, because anybody can look good on a Kyle Shanahan. Anybody.
And I do genuinely think that is what is just going to end up being the 49ers as long as Kyle Shanahan is there, because Garoppolo has proved that he can just be plugged in and win. Trey Lance was playing well before he was injured. Brock Purdy has been one of the best quarterbacks in football the last 4 or 5 weeks. And we're just going to start seeing a cycle of them getting mid-round rookie quarterbacks, have them play on their rookie deals, and just go on to the next one. And they are going to win 10 games a year, make the playoffs, and everyone's going to be like, holy shit. And it's only like we'll see if they can keep that core together, because whether it's that offensive line, I mean, that offensive line is out of this world. I mean, incredible. That offense does not work if they don't have as good of an offensive line as they do. But
must be nice.
Yeah, I mean, imagine that. It's just now I'm thinking how scary that offense would be with Fields in it. But I digress. You pair that offensive line, you have the best blocking tight end in football in George Kittle. Trading for Christian McCaffrey when you already have Kittle, Ayuk, Debo Samuel. It's unfair. I'll tell you right now, I think the 49ers are winning the Super Bowl.
I hope they do. I actually really hope they do.
I genuinely do. I genuinely do. If I had to pick right now what I think the Super Bowl will be, I think it's going to be a matchup between the Buffalo Bills and the San Francisco 49ers.
You still got Buffalo coming out.
I do.
Interesting. So I guess I could throw a prediction out there too, considering like you threw yours out. I'll be honest with you. As much as I would love to see San Francisco, I'm still rolling with Philadelphia to make the Super Bowl. However, so there is a player right now that we are treating like Brady in a sense where every year we predict where he's not going to make it because we want to see the next person come up. Name is Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
Patrick Mahomes, I think, is going to lead the Chiefs to the Super Bowl. And am I confident about that? No, because I do think, I've been on the Bills since the beginning of the season, but I think they're third right now. Because
you have the Bengals in front of them. Yep.
Is really good. And Joe Burrow, the rumors about his demise were so greatly exaggerated in the first part of the season.
I mean,
I said, just wait. And the funny thing is, his hot streak started when his best receiver wasn't even playing. That's scary.
Yeah, Cincinnati is interesting to me because I still genuinely don't think Zach Taylor is that good of a coach. I just think he's
me either.
I just think he fell into just an awesome situation, a ton of great weapons. Their offensive line's improved. Burrow should get MVP votes this year. Will he? I don't know if he will, but there is no unanimous NFL MVP this year, and it's probably going to be Mahomes, right? I think he's a favorite right now. Mahomes, top three are probably Mahomes, Hurts, and Burrow, I would assume.
Yeah.
It's just, I wouldn't be surprised because they're only getting healthier too right now, which is crazy.
Yeah. But I tell you something. While the AFC side may be extremely interesting considering the names that's going to be there, got Burrow, Allen, Herbert, got Trevor Lawrence going to be in there. Who knows if Lamar Jackson's actually going to show up? And hell, Kenny Pickett can even sneak in. He's still alive. But I mean, can we talk about just the Steelers? They were dead. We were talking about how, well, not we, because we're smarter than that, but we were talking about how people talk about Mike Tomlin and how he consistently underachieves it whatnot. But with the stuff that he's been given this year, Mike Tomlin is an overachiever, but in the most positive sense. It is amazing what he's done with this team. It's almost to a point where I want Miami to lose. I want New England to lose. I want to see Pittsburgh get in. They might get the doors blown off of them. That's fine. But I would like to see them in the playoffs because of the job that has been done by Mike Tomlin. It is amazing. I just can't wait until because Kenny Pickett pretty much solidified he's going to be the quarterback of this team going forward. They need an offensive coordinator.
Yep,
that's going to be key.
They do.
But if they can have a good free agency, which is pretty rare because Steelers don't spend a lot of money, but if they can really have a good free agency and a good draft, Steelers are right there to get back to being among the top in the AFC. As crazy as that sounds, because the AFC is very top heavy, but the Steelers, with how they're coached, they can get back there easily.
Yeah, and I just can't believe we're at the point right now where it's like how it was at the start of this year when he first came into the fold. Kenny Pickett is more than serviceable at this point, which is just
Absolutely.
he is more than serviceable. Is he ever? I don't think he will ever be a great NFL quarterback, but the dude's a gamer.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a gamer. That's the perfect way to describe Kenny Pickett, in my opinion. And Tomlin clearly loves him. I mean, I'm sure you saw the clip on Twitter
Kenny
where you
fucking
see him
Pickett.
mouth and Kenny fucking Pickett. And never in my life did I think there would be an NFL starting quarterback who wore 2 wide receiver gloves, but here we are. He's winning football games, and what do you know? The Pittsburgh Steelers are potentially going to make the playoffs again. Who would have thought? Mike Tomlin,
It would be amazing.
Model of consistency, Mike Tomlin.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And you will want to have a coach like him.
Mm-hmm.
I know if you're in the AFC North, you think he's just a complete nozzle. It's just he's too much of a rah-rah guy. But you can ignore that when you are in it every single season.
Yep. It must be nice, right?
Must be freaking nice.
Yeah, must be nice. But moving on into New Year's weekend. Brandon, unfortunately, your Wolverines, who I thought were finally going to put an end to what I've been saying all year, a bunch of frauds and Max Duggan and TCU. They got punched in the mouth, and unfortunately, they are not heading to the national championship. With that said, the floor is yours.
So I went into this game confident. If you know me from a very personal perspective, you know I'm the most
confident.
I'm never confident. I'm always pessimistic about my teams. But I was telling every single person, we're going to win this game. We're going to win. And I think that most of America thought Michigan was going to win. I think I know what happened. I've had a couple of days to sit on it. I've had a couple of days to recollect my thoughts about the game and whatnot. And I watched it, tuned out, went back, and tuned right back out again because I was very upset. So one thing about Michigan was that they were always prepared throughout the entire season. The preparation was clearly there with the big games, Ohio State, Michigan State, Penn State, and even the Big Ten championship game.
Yep.
Like the preparation was always there. I know they prepared for the game. The problem was they prepared for the game after the game. They were expecting Georgia. They was expecting Ohio State. They were so hungry to probably beat Ohio State again, but they were also very hungry to reavenge the loss to Georgia last season. And what I saw was a team that I did not watch throughout this season. Stupid trick plays, horrible run defense, too much blitzing.
Yeah, it didn't look like them. They let TCU play their. No, let me reword that. They tried playing TCU's game because they failed at playing their own, if that makes sense.
Yes, indeed. And you saw it when after that Donovan Edwards big run or like the first or second play, everything it just seemed like things just got different. They didn't go back to their bread and butter. They didn't do, they didn't do what they were supposed to do. And the problem was when you do that, you have to let JJ McCarthy be the guy that leads you to victory, which listen, this is not a knock on JJ McCarthy. He's going to be really good. I think he's going to be really good next season. But when you do not rely on him to win you many games throughout the season, it's going to look a bit different. His flaws are actually going to show. And that's exactly what had happened. The 2 pick sixes really messed up everything. It completely changed the game. And fact of the matter is this. I know that this season was a success. I still say it is a success. The one thing I will say this season is a whole lot of what if. What if we beat TCU? What if that touchdown was called for our Roman Wilson?
Yeah.
What if targeting was called on the last play of the game? What if? And as a Michigan fan, I'm going to sit on that all summer and say, I want to be happy about this season, but I just think that was a game that should have been not a gimme, but a team that we should have handled. And we didn't do that. And truthfully, you beat Ohio State, you beat Michigan State, you beat Penn State, you won back-to-back Big Ten championships. I'm going to be honest with you. That whole beating rivals thing, you have proven you can do that.
Mhm.
What's next?
Yeah.
What's next? A national championship has to be the thing now. It has to be. And I'm going to talk from a perspective of a guy that's simply upset that his team is lost. TCU Ohio State shouldn't even have a chance to play for a national championship. I'm going to be that guy. I'm sorry,
I agree.
but
Hey, I agree, man.
It's just I grew up with every game meaning something. If you were 1 or 2, if the voters got it right, you were playing in a national championship game. But now you look back at Michigan and Ohio State, it meant nothing. You look at K-State and TCU, that game, it meant nothing. You want to know why? Because all 4 teams got a chance to play for the national championship. And all because they wanted to generate more money, which they wasn't disseminated to the players until just recently. We're in this position where we have to have 3 games to consider to decide a national championship, a champion. I'm sorry, I'm not feeling it. And maybe it's me venting because my team isn't good enough to be there, but it just means that the game just means so much less. And I simply can't get down with it.
Yeah, I mean, I am gonna push back a little bit. I agree that it should not have been TCU and Ohio State. If anything, it should be conference champions, in my opinion. But then again, you look at it from that perspective. Utah should not have been in the playoff.
Sure.
I mean, Utah should not be in the playoff. Kansas State should not have been in the playoff. And then, I mean, yes, you had the Power Five. So are you going to just do the top 4 Power Five schools out of conference champions? Like, it's just it depends how you would want to do that. So I know you're not a fan of it, but I am a fan of the expanded playoff. Who knows? Maybe that forces these teams, like how you mentioned, Michigan was just looking ahead. Maybe when they know there's a couple extra games other than just one game and you're in, maybe that stops teams from looking ahead a little bit. I'm sure, yes, you're going to have your game plans ready, but you're not going to be as focused in as Michigan most likely was on Georgia. I mean, let's be honest. Both games were a lot closer than I expected.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely believed Michigan was going to win by 3 touchdowns.
You could 2 tops.
Yeah, like I thought that spread of 7.5 that it closed at was far too low, and my wallet is reaping the consequences. That's a whole different story. But the fact Ohio State should not have lost that game. Like
I agree.
They should not have lost that game. We were not far away from an all Big Ten national championship.
Yeah. And it been drop dead sexy from a meter perspective.
Oh my God. I mean,
oh boy.
Of all rivalries in college athletics, is there a better matchup for a national championship? I mean, from the media perspective, I don't think so. I mean, maybe in Alabama and Auburn, but like, I still don't think so. And it's just, I don't know if we will ever see that, but man, that would have been special. So there's 2 things I kind of wanted to key on, though, just talking about playoff in general this year. The first, we can kind of gloss over it. Ryan Day is still a good coach. We did clown on him a little after Michigan, rightfully so. I mean, it was a horrible game plan, and he folded.
Yeah.
He still almost walked in and beat Kirby Smart in Georgia, and he probably should have. And I think he's still a very good coach at the college level. The second, rumors are swirling again. Reports saying that Harbaugh is going to leave Michigan if he gets an NFL offer. I don't buy it, but at the same time, I feel like I bought it last year and it almost happened. So I feel like now that I I'm not buying it. I'm just playing reverse psychology in my head here. I think it is going to happen because I think there are some interesting situations out there for him. I think I would not be surprised if he ends up back at the NFL ranks. I don't know who it would be with. Because last year I thought it was going to be the Raiders. I really did think it was going to be the Raiders.
I did too.
And
or Vikings.
Or the Vikings, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him walk in Indianapolis, make them trade for that first overall pick with the Bears, and he gets his pick at which quarterback he wants to develop at the pro level.
Yeah.
And I will say it right now. I think there's a better shot he will be in the NFL next year than at Michigan.
So first things first, the people that wanted Ryan Day gone, like,
I mean, yeah, that was obnoxious. That was completely obnoxious.
It's like, don't get me wrong. If offense was just about, if football was just about offense, I think Ryan Day would win a national championship every year.
Yep.
But I heard all offseason, Jim Knowles. Jim Knowles is the same guy that they had the last year. Okay. It's like the big games, the defense didn't show up. The Michigan game, horrible. I mean, horrible in the second half. They folded. And then with Georgia, they had Stetson Bennett rattled, and Stetson Bennett responded.
Yep.
And I mean, I don't know who's the better quarterback between JJ McCarthy and Stetson Bennett, but like talent-wise, I'll pick JJ. But that's
yeah, talent's a whole different thing, but
right. But results matter.
At this point in time, Stetson's going to have a better insurance career than JJ. Selling
absolutely. That is true. Now, with Jim Harbaugh, I'm at two places here. Number one, I'm at a point where I'm not buying the rumors. We do this every single year. Even when he was struggling, we did this every single year. The song and dance. Oh, he's flirting with this team. He's flirting with that team. Like we do this, and I'm not doubting that he's been close to leaving, but like there has to be more here because we saw this last year. But here's the other side I'm going with. This is going to sound crazy coming from me because of what he has done here. The more he flirts with the NFL teams, the more I want him to go. We're going to do this every single year?
I get that. I don't hate that logic at all. And if I were you and he walks out this offseason, right? I would be fucking livid because they missed out on Luke Fickell. And and granted, I don't know if Fickell would ever go to Michigan considering he's an Ohio State guy. But goddamn, you would have had to have thrown a bag at him, and now he is going to run the Big Ten West in Madison. But that's a whole different topic. But I'm just of the opinion that I think before he gets too old, he wants one more shot in the NFL.
I think so. But the thing is, like, what? Now, the scheme has changed with Jim Harbaugh over the years. Like, the whole pro-style offense that he had coming in, it wasn't doing anything. So he went to more of a spread style. And even with the spread style, his game is still his game. It's still an old school pound the rock type of football. Like, established the run game, and that's what the game plan's going to be. Is that going to work in the NFL? I don't know at this moment in time. I really don't. Especially with guys, because let's be honest, there's little to no universities that have run a pro-style offense. It just doesn't happen anymore. So you're gonna get a guy, would it be CJ Stroud or Bryce Young? You're gonna get one of them, and you're gonna try to put them in a pro-style type of offense, and while still like having some type of spread offense. I don't know if that works. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know if that works. And the one thing that I think about, as much success that Harbaugh has had, I feel like there's a lot left on the table because he does not let his quarterbacks be free. A lot of his game is the running game, and rightly so. When you have Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards as a tandem in the backfield, you would be stupid not to utilize them to the best of their abilities.
Yep.
But JJ McCarthy, talent-wise, is the best quarterback that Michigan has had in a very long time. Very long time. And it's very possible that he may be wasted because Jim Harbaugh does not want him to be free with the football. And the only time they'll let him be free is when they're down by 2 touchdowns. That's not ideal. And you have good wide receivers that you can work with. So you can't continue to do that and expecting, results. The results in college football are based off of how well can you throw the football. It's all, and I'll argue it's been that way for the past decade. So, while Jim Harbaugh leaving would be terrible, it would interest me who would be next to kind of modernize Michigan football.
Yeah, and it's at the point too where you are late. You are far too late in the hiring cycle right now. If he was to leave, you're kind of fucked for next year when it comes to finding a head coach. But then again, you're Michigan. You realistically can pluck whoever you want, other than, let's say, I don't know, 7 to 8 coaches in the country. I mean, realistically, you could get whoever you want. So it's interesting. Definitely a situation I'm going to have a close eye on. I don't know what's next at Michigan, or what's next in the McCarthy household for that matter. I have to bring it up.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I would not be able to show my face if my dad was caught on national TV in 4K grabbing a feel of my girlfriend's ass. I mean, that's just like the most uncomfortable thing imaginable. I mean, because I was watching the video, and the brush that could happen. Like, all right, like that could happen. But then you just see him come in with that other hand, and you are like, good fucking Lord.
Now, when I first saw who was on camera, I wasn't paying attention to like the names or anything like that, but I was looking on Twitter because Twitter, sometimes we think alike. And we say, damn, who is that?
Yep.
And you find out who it is. I'm just like, oh, okay, that's my quarterback. That's my quarterback right there. I like that.
Yeah.
And then I saw the 2 brushes. I'm like, thank God Thanksgiving's over, because imagine discussing that at the table. That is rough. I mean, and he's gonna live with that for a very long time.
Oh, he hasn't heard.
When draft night come up, guess what? They ain't gonna talk about how his house as a 3-year-old got burned down. They're gonna talk about that. Okay.
They're gonna be talking about how he has a new girlfriend and parents are going through a divorce. But
hey, and not for nothing, I hope she measures up, because he hit a 3-pointer from the half court So
yeah. So
well, I wish him the best.
Yeah. But just unrelated to, I mean, kind of related. Are college football cameramen just the horniest men on the planet with who they're able to find, man?
Do you remember Catherine Webb?
Yes. Like, who was calling that game?
Brett Musburger's horny ass.
Yes.
Oh my
Every
God.
Time. Wow.
You quarterbacks get all the good looking women. Like, have some shame. You know we can hear you, right? Oh my God.
Yeah. It's just, regardless. I mean, shout out to all these girls, though, because the social media clout that I've seen people gain, whether it was from what game? I know a girl from Tulane has now gone mega viral, and then I think the other one was Oklahoma, maybe. I don't know, whatever, some red and white school, and it was all of them. Every single one that goes viral, you're like, what the fuck, man? Like, that cameraman knows exactly what he's doing, and good.
Yes. It's always ESPN too. Fox has some type of dignity.
Always ESPN.
Oh man, I'm glad you brought that up, because it has been a very, 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 very sickening trend over the course of the years. I thought I was the only one who was noticing that.
Oh no. And, yeah, no. But not to take just a complete turn in the opposite direction. We would be kind of remiss to not mention it. We saw on Monday night, quite possibly, not quite possibly, I will call it the scariest moment I've ever seen on a court, a rink, a field of any type, with Damar Hamilton needing CPR and is an AED on the field after just as much of a freak accident as we will ever see. And there's a lot of ways we could go about this. Obviously, wishing nothing but the best for Damar and his family. Everything I've seen, I mean, I had heard of him before. Obviously, didn't know much about him. He was on the Bills. He played a Pitt. There's never really a reason for me to know much about him. But it sucks to see, because from all accounts, everything that's come out, you have not seen one bad thing said about him.
Yeah.
And, usually when someone's in the news, you're always going to find the small corner of the internet who's going to try and dunk on him. They're like, oh, well, yeah, prayers to him, but did you know that they did this? The only thing that you've seen said about him is that he started a toy drive, volunteered at his mom's daycare center. He had 46 Division I scholarship offers across the country, but stayed home to play in Pittsburgh just so he could be around his little brother and be there as an example for him. Seems like as great and pure of a dude that there is in the league.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was like as horrible of a moment. It was a special moment in a way on Monday night, because you saw, I'm trying to make sure I word this properly.
Mhm.
You saw a display on that field that you will probably never see again from two teams.
Yeah.
The NFL said, all right, you have 5 minutes to stretch after the ambulance left the field. And you see Zach Taylor, who this game has number one seed implications. Zach Taylor says, oh, hell no. I'm walking across the sideline. I'm going to go talk to Sean McDermott. And they pulled their players off the field because they knew that no one on that either team was in the right frame of mind to play. And then I also just want to tip my hat to the ESPN crew, because I mean, you've never seen any type of situation like that before. And whether it was Ryan Clark, Booger McFarland, Adam Schefter, I mean, Scott Van Pelt, all of them just handled the situation just perfectly. And
Yeah.
just want to tip my cap to them. But floor is yours. It's just such an awful situation, man.
This year in the NFL has been some of the hardest watches.
Mm-hmm.
Two situations have happened. Tua's first concussion
Yep.
was scary. I think everybody at that moment said, I don't think I've seen much like that. We've seen videos all over the internet, and sometimes we crack jokes about it, unfortunately, as bad as that is, but it's happened. I can say with the utmost certainty that this is the scariest moment that I've ever seen in sports. And it's solely because that Damar Hamlin is fighting for his life right now.
Yep.
And praise to him that he makes it through. I'm glad that I'm hearing that improvements are being made. Still some time to go, but improvements are being made. I'm just glad that there is like this, everybody in the NFL is rallying around, the Buffalo Bills and Hamlin, and it's amazing to see. And even with the internet being such a foul place when it comes to serious situations, I'm glad that there has been a good amount of people that have refrained from the low blow jokes or like the horrible things that you could possibly say about someone potentially dying on the football field, because that was the immediate thought when he collapsed. That was my immediate thought, because like, this is coming from the perspective of somebody who has never ever in my 25 years of life never ever see anything like that. It was so scary to see everybody's shocked faces, everybody crying, and And the immediate thought was there is no possible way this game can be played. There's no way because it would be extremely irresponsible. But most importantly, it would feel nasty to play the game.
Mhm.
Nobody's going to be into it. No one's going to have the heart to play it. And not for nothing, when you see something like that, you're just like, man, that could be me.
Yep.
That could be me. But and crazy. And the thing is, football players are robots. They're gonna go back out there next Saturday and Sunday and play. Like that's just how they're wired. They're wired differently. Like that's the best way I can describe it. And it's scary because as a fan, you're gonna look at it and say, how do I know this is not gonna happen again?
Mm-hmm.
How do I know that any routine tackle that's gonna be made, this isn't going to happen again? And you just like clutching onto your seat to see that somebody's going to get up and rise up from the tackle they just made, the hit they just made, because it can go from the receiver to the defensive person, the defensive player that could get hurt from any bit of contact, but you don't expect that.
Yep.
So that's why it's scary. But I need to say something, because while I did praise the internet for being in lockstep with not making cruel jokes, I want to talk to a specific part of our society. I cannot for the life of me believe that a man is fighting for his life due to a physical sport, and you just horrible, soulless, idiotic, ignorant people are equating this to a vaccine.
Yep.
Let me tell y'all something. Clearly, there are people like y'all that have absolutely nothing going for y'all other than politics, politics, politics. It's all about what point can I prove that is better than the other side, and that's going to make my day. That's going to make my day so much better that I was right over a person that I disagree with. This person is fighting for his life. This is, I will agree with one thing. This is a 1 in a million type of incident that took place. But to push a political agenda, and by the way, it is horrendously stupid that this is a political thing in the first place. But here we are. I've accepted it for what it is. But for a guy that's played a physical sport, because apparently nobody that's played sports, I'm not even talking about from a physical standpoint, nobody has had a life-threatening injury. Nobody has had a throat slash on the ice. Nobody has collapsed on a basketball court. But we want to equate this to a vaccine because you are so damn miserable to think that, man, maybe the hit that he took was really hard and he went into cardiac arrest. Oh no, he took a vaccine. That's probably why he's suffering. You people need to go outside more. You need to talk to people more. And you actually need to go and find a fucking heart because you don't have it. You don't have it. It is crazy to me that you will sit up there, raise your children, teach them all this stuff that you're saying online. You're going to teach it to them. And somebody is going to be, like your offspring is going to be as ignorant as you are. And that makes me so angry because we do not need no more people like you on this planet. You people make me sick. You should be ashamed of yourselves. But the thing is, you can't shame people that don't have any shame. And that's sad.
Yep. And, you're talking about the bad there. I do want to bring up some of the good that we've seen though from this situation. I mean, I mentioned the toy drive that Damar Hamlin started when he was in college, and there was a GoFundMe from 2020. There hadn't been donations probably since 2020, and his goal was $2,500. And in the description, it said something along the lines of, I can't touch this till after I graduate, blah blah blah. Like, this is just thank you, like whatever else he said. It's at about $5 million now.
That's great.
And, that just like goes to show you just how great the internet actually can be. Because I remember I came across that GoFundMe. I saw someone tweet it out. I don't know how people found it that quick, if we're being honest. I mean, again, just the power of the internet. But I saw someone tweet it out, and when I first clicked on it, it had like $7,000 donated to it. And now it's had like 5 million. And
Yeah.
it, God willing that everything turns out okay. That all reports the last few days have been positive, thankfully, that they've taken back the capacity of the oxygen that he needs, and his heart is beating again at a normal level. All of his other vitals, other than his breathing, which is awesome to hear. I'm going to say when he wakes up, you're not going to be able to wipe that smile off his face, man.
100%.
And that's part of the internet I love. That's part of the internet I love. I wish we could all be more like that in real life, but that's just the type of bullshit we have to deal with, man, on a day in, day out basis.
And another thing too, I'll be shocked if he plays football again. I'll be shocked. And I think it's one of these positions. It's unfortunate, but it's just the way life goes. That this type of happening, kind of like spearheaded him to being a guy that's going to be spokesperson for this or that or whatnot. And he didn't have like a great career by any means, but you see guys like Ryan Shazier, you see guys like Eric LeGrand, and stuff that they do, and they gain fame because of a bad happening on a football field. And I think what makes it more, I think what makes it more like, gives it more credibility is the fact that it was on a football field. It's so football is so just damn dangerous, and we've seen it, for as long as we've been alive. And I think now, hopefully when he wakes up, I think that football is definitely his love and passion. But I would implore for him to find another thing, just so. I think I'm saying this very selfishly, because I just never, ever, ever want to see anything like that again.
No, I mean, I agree, because I've honestly never been more uncomfortable watching my TV screen, and I had a very hard time turning it off, even though you weren't expecting any type of update.
Absolutely. And the thing is, like, I don't want to use the car crash method because it doesn't fit in this type of situation, but it low-key does, because you were just hoping and praying that when he got taken away in the stretcher, whenever that was going to be, because he was on the field for a very long time,
you were going to see the thumbs up that you
yes, that's what I was waiting for, and it never happened. So I was just on the edge of my seat the entire time, just like, man, I don't believe what I just watched. This doesn't feel real. I don't even want to watch this game anymore if the NFL had the goal to even continue it. I don't want to watch this. That's how bad it was.
Yep. And before we wrap up here, I just have one last point I want to make. If any one of you is bitching about your fantasy championship,
go to hell.
Just you are the worst type of fucking person on the planet. Like, it's fantasy fucking football. End of the day, yeah, fantasy's fun. Don't get me wrong. But if you are actually genuinely bent out of shape over your championship potentially being delayed, your commissioner making a decision to just make a champion based on what the final score was at that point in time, get a goddamn life, man.
You know what it sounds like to me? Sounds like you are broke.
Yep.
Like you was really expecting that money. And listen, it's Christmas time. It was New Year's. I know you had to get back on your feet. I understand. Like, you wanted that money. However, tax season is coming around. You'll be all right.
So with that being said, that's going to wrap up this week's episode of the Goonery. Thank you for tuning into the show, and hopefully next week, when we're back, we're discussing the Chicago Bears with the first overall pick. But that being said, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the show, and we will see you next week.